millions of tons of water into coal mines, and just a few years later, averaging. Welcome to the latest issue of Top Secret. This crystal clear lake today looks like paradise, but 30 years ago, it was an open wound on the Earth's surface, one of the most polluted areas in East Germany. What transformed a dead land into a paradise like this? The story of this spectacular revival will surely amaze you. The transformation of Germany's lignite mines. In the 1980s, if viewed from a satellite, the central Germany region would look like a painting with huge open cast lines where lignite coal was being extracted. Lignite is a type of brown coal, mainly used for electricity production. The lignite mining industry began in Germany about 150 years ago and quickly made the country the world's largest brown coal producer. Initially, the mines were quite small and extraction was done manually. Unlike coal, lignite deposits are usually located near the surface, so people only needed to dig the topsoil layer instead of digging deep underground. Over time, mining technology developed, and the mines also became larger, which not only affected the environment but also changed the surrounding landscape. Ultimately, lignite mining turned approximately 1,770 square kilometers of rural land into barren areas. Water became polluted, and both animals and humans had to be relocated. Additionally, coal mining also increased greenhouse gas emissions into the environment. It wasn't until the 1990s that some lignite mines in central Germany began to close. Policies changed and public concern about the negative impacts of coal mining grew. Moreover, new energy sources were also developed. But don't think that the coal mines have completely disappeared. They still exist, still operate, and continue to supply coal to the country. However, some mines were exhausted, with nothing left to extract, and these mines were completely converted. Soon after mining stopped, the landscape here was so devastated that it looked like a moon. Journey to Mars. However, this plan changed and the old mines were renovated for completely different purposes. Many people, including miners and officials, worked together to fill the mines with water. In total, at least 140 lignite mines were flooded, turning old coal mines into resort lakes. The idea of turning coal mines into resort lakes actually started in 1973 in the German Democratic Republic, when a mine near Stendal was flooded following the proposal of the lake landscape planner Stendal, also known as Dresden Bath, became the model for subsequent projects. After thorough reunification, the remaining mines were transferred to the Swedish company Tenpon or the federal company LMDV to be converted into resorts. However, before turning the mines into lakes, some major issues needed to be addressed, with renovation costs being a notable factor. The estimated cost of cleaning up the consequences of the mines reached about $13.5 million United States. However, the German government took responsibility for covering these expenses. The water used to fill the lakes was usually taken from large rivers like the Spree and Gracefully, or from groundwater, or even from active mines that had to discharge water to maintain operations. The process of creating these lakes was a long-term task, for when coal mining stopped until the lake reached the desired water level could take decades. However, it wasn't just about water. In some cases, turning mines into lakes also required extensive earthworks. Take Lake Brewster as an example. This lake formed over the area of the caverns North mine, which previously extracted brown coal. After mining ended, about 20 million cubic meters of soil were excavated and distributed into the center of the lake to ensure safe use. For example, for activities like boating and fishing, the excavated soil was also used to fill old rail tracks and create a small bay in the lake construction area. About 140 excavators were used daily for construction and reinforcing the lake. Specifically, the eastern banks and small islands were created using mining equipment. After completing the reinforcement, the new lake was ready to be filled with water. However, it should be noted that these lakes can form naturally even without human intervention. After mining ends, the deep mine pits gradually accumulate water, possibly from groundwater, rain, or a combination of both. The coal mine's shape resembles a natural reservoir in low-lying areas, allowing water to easily accumulate there. Generally, humans don't do anything particularly special except accelerate a natural process, and of course, they also gain some benefits from this. As you might guess, there are quite a few artificial lakes in Germany today formed from old coal mines, but the most prominent among them is Lake Jutuzzi. It's hard to imagine how polluted this place used to be. T wear white socks because they knew that after just a few minutes, the socks wouldn't. The entire area was full of coal dust day, but look, now the landscape here is wonderful with pine forests, grassy fields, and a mirror-like calm lake surface, along with ideal cycling paths. This place used to be a quarry, closed in 1993, and looked no different from a quarry at that time. Now Lake Jutuzi covers about 28 square kilometers, and vineyards have been planted around the lake. The lake's surface helps reflect sunlight onto the grapevines, while the humidity around the lake protects them from winter frost. Experts say that the highly acidified soil from coal mining can inhibit the growth of most crops but is very ideal for grapevines. Currently, producers are making 3 types of white gold, pink gold, red gold wines, and even sparkling wine from grapes grown on the old coal, and the number of these artificial lakes in Germany is still increasing instead of mining coal. Now they're utilizing them to create relaxation, resort spaces, and even producing gold wines. Since the end of coal mining activities, some old mining areas in Germany have been transformed into picturesque artificial lakes, attracting millions of tourists each year. It's simply about filling abandoned mine pits with water. In fact, with over 22% of Germany's electricity still dependent on lignite and 12% from hard coal. Converting old coal mines into lakes truly brings not only environmental benefits but also contributes to regeneration and economic development. The story began in the 1980s when people started flooding coal mines to create recreational areas. One of the widely known areas is Lake Yutukan, located on land that was previously a coal mining area, where people can now see pine forests, meadows, and peaceful blue water surfaces. This process starts with closing the mines and is followed by a series of restoration works. The old mining areas aren't simply filled with water but must undergo many steps like reinforcing lake banks, dismantling old infrastructure, and treating mine waste. The typical example is Lake Kotbusa, which was previously the North Kotbusa coal mine. To create a lake usable for activities like fishing and boating, over 200 million cubic meters of soil were moved and graded to ensure user safety. After completion, this lake became one of the most popular tourist spots, attracting thousands of visitors each year. Notably, the process of turning coal mines into lakes isn't just for recreational purposes but also serves longer-term environmental and community benefits. Creating lakes helps protect ecosystems and promotes the development of many new animal and plant species. About 30,000 animal and plant species have returned to the restored mining areas, helping increase biodiversity, especially for wildlife species that have been displaced due to excessive agricultural. Particularly, these lakes not only provide habitats for animals but also act as a flood prevention system, protecting surrounding areas from flood damage, saving the government millions of dollars each year. These areas also become famous tourist destinations with cycling paths around the lakes, beaches, cafes, restaurants, and many recreational activities like fishing, horseback riding, and water sports. This development not only improves residents' quality of life but also creates thousands of new jobs. One of the biggest benefits of converting coal mines into lakes is the ability to develop renewable energy. For example, in the city of Bors, one of the large artificial lakes was chosen as the site for building Germany's largest floating solar farm with a capacity of up to 21 megawatts. Similarly, old coal mines in Slovenia and China have been reused to install solar panels, replacing coal power plants and contributing to the global carbon emission reduction strategy. Overall, converting coal mines into lakes isn't just a solution for land regeneration but also a pioneering step for sustainable development, bringing many benefits to the community and environment. And as this trend grows stronger globally, it can be seen that reusing mining areas isn't only necessary but also an opportunity to create new values for society in the future, reviving from old gold mines and a connection with the environment. In New Zealand, an old gold mine that ceased operations in 2016 has now been reopened with a meaningful goal, restoring the local ecosystem. More than half of the mine's area, about 260 hectares of land that had been cut from the hillside, has been fully restored with trees. This is part of the private restoration project initiated and implemented by the gold mine's owner, Husana Gold. To date, about 800,000 eucalyptus trees and native species have been planted on this land, and the next plan is to plant another 200,000 seedlings on the newly covered soil land. Additionally, about 64,000 wetland plants will be planted along the shallow lake shores, helping to rehabilitate and green previously bare areas. These efforts not only help restore the land but also enhance biodiversity in the area. Just a few years ago, this place was just a barren land, no different from a dry quarry. Now, thanks to these efforts, the landscape of the area has completely changed, becoming a lush, vibrant area with no trace of its original appearance. Meanwhile, in the US, the mining situation is also facing an equally significant challenge. Mining companies here face the requirement to restore old mines, even though thousands of mines are abandoned due to the high cost of restoration. This is because toxic chemicals accumulate in exposed rocks and soil, making restoration very difficult without adding a new layer of soil. However, in the vast coal mining area of West Virginia, one plant thrives even on the dry and nutrient-poor soil of old mines: lavender. Lavender typically grows well on dry, rocky soil in the Mediterranean region, but in West Virginia, it flourishes on former coal mine lands thanks to the environmentally friendly farming methods of the Appalachia Botanical Company. This company also processes lavender oil to produce cosmetic and food products, while forests are usually planted to restore mining areas, a process that is slow and expensive. But lavender is different. It grows quickly and doesn't require much care, no chemicals or pesticides, and not much water. Moreover, lavender attracts bees, important pollinators that help restore and maintain biodiversity on degraded lands. Another plus is that growing lavender creates jobs for those who lost work due to the shift to renewable energy, replacing jobs in the coal industry. And of course, lavender also brings a pleasant fragrance to the surrounding space. Through such projects, it's clear that restoring mining areas not only brings environmental benefits but also supports the economy and creates new opportunities for the community. These initiatives not only help clean the land but also rebuild previously devastated areas, creating green and sustainable spaces for future generations. Old mines transformed into new energy sources. One of the creative uses for old mines is utilizing them for heat supply. However, this time it's not coal but a new technology. In the city of Cottbus, located in eastern Germany, there are plans to install a powerful heat pump system under an artificial lake created from a decommissioned coal mine. This project could provide up to 40% of the city's heating needs, which is truly impressive, especially as Germany aims to completely phase out coal energy by the 2030s. The reason using old mines for heating systems is so effective is due to underground temperatures. As you go deeper into the ground, the water temperature in mines increases, making them a potential energy source for heating. Typically, water temperature in mines ranges from about 10 to 20 degrees Celsius, but at 1,000 meters depth, water can reach 40 degrees Celsius. The deeper you go into the mine, the higher the water temperature becomes, making heat extraction from old mines an ideal solution. The operation of this system is very simple. Heat pumps draw water from underground and transfer it to the city's heating system. This method is not only environmentally friendly but also very efficient because temperatures in mines remain stable year-round regardless of season. This means the system will work well even during cold winters or hot summers. Furthermore, water from mines can be used not only for heating but also for cooling buildings, creating a flexible and economical solution. Additionally, using abandoned mines as energy sources is not uncommon in Germany. The country plans to turn one of the old mines into a large-scale energy storage factory at the Prosper Hanau mine in western Germany, which mined coal for over 50 years before closing in 2018. It will be converted into an energy storage station. This mine has a depth of up to 600 meters, providing an ideal opportunity for an energy storage system. When there's excess energy, water will be pumped up from the mine and stored in an elevated reservoir, ready to supply when needed. This project will also be supplemented by a 200 megawatts power station, drawing energy from renewable sources like wind, solar, and biomass. When combined with the energy storage system and pumped hydroelectric plants, the Prosper Hanau mine will become a complete power plant, providing clean energy for about 400,000 households. This is a typical example of how old mines can be repurposed to create sustainable energy sources, replacing fossil fuels. We can see that converting abandoned mines into energy centers not only helps solve environmental problems but also contributes to providing renewable energy for communities, creating a greener and more sustainable future. From old coal mines to innovative environmental projects, when mentioning coal mines, few think they can become beautiful sites or have tourism value. However, the Zarian mine proves otherwise. After this mine closed, the area became a favorite spot not only for locals but also for tourists. The Zarian mine is now not just an old coal mine but has become a genuine museum recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. Every weekend, around 3 p.m., tours are organized for visitors. Using sound and visual effects, visitors experience the coal mining and sorting process, hearing the sound of coal carts rolling on tracks. However, there's unfortunate news for those wanting to explore underground. The mine has closed and no longer allows underground visits. Go underground, the surface area doesn't. The giant mining pits on the surface, which were formerly coal mining areas, have gradually been reclaimed by nature with lush green grass. This place has now become an ideal space for locals to walk, cycle, and even hold outdoor events. In winter, this area also becomes an attractive destination for those who enjoy ice skating. Surely no one expected that an old coal mine, full of dust and snow, would become a prominent tourist destination. The story of the Sarian mine is truly evidence of the miraculous revival of nature and humanity. Coal mines are transforming themselves. When discussing coal mine reuse, we cannot ignore the environmental issues left by old mines. In Germany, many coal mines have been closed, leaving behind large deep pits that were later filled with water. This not only helps minimize the dangers from deep pits, but also helps create new water areas that can be used for various purposes. However, not every country can easily implement this. For example, in Australia, filling old mines with water is a major challenge. The issue in Australia is the limited amount of precious water the country has to use, and filling coal mines with water would encounter many problems, from environmental impacts to protecting the safety of water areas in the future. This is completely different from Germany, where some areas have excess water that can be used to fill mine pits. However, in Australia's Latrobe Valley region, water is a scarce resource, and filling coal mines with water would require more water than all of Sydney has. The local community in Latrobe Valley is also very actively involved in solving this problem. Nevertheless, ideas about how to fill old mines with water still face resistance from the authorities. And currently, solutions still lack a final answer. Nature is being restored. Another story about reusing coal mines involves a nature restoration project in Norway. The Savita mine, located about a 40-minute helicopter flight from the town of Longyearbyen, closed after extracting 34 million tons of coal. After the mine ceased operations, Norway decided to invest about $1.4 million United States dollars, hoping nature returns to its natural state. This project not only aims to protect the environment but also restores the ecosystem for the Svalbard area, where the coal mining industry has completed its mission. Although the cost of this project is quite high, for Norway, preserving nature is extremely important. The project does not interfere too much with nature but mainly helps nature recover on its own. Naturally flowing streams and snow avalanches will help move sediment layers and create new flows, thereby cleansing the area of traces from the coal mining industry. Norway is in the process of transforming from a country dependent on coal mining. Now they're focusing on tourism and scientific research. This is causing the economy in Svalbard to shift in a new direction. However, there are also conflicting opinions about closing coal mines and shifting to developing tourism and research. Some argue that although Norway is gradually moving away from coal, they still export millions of tons of oil. This makes the greening of the country's economy seem not entirely reasonable. Anyway, these stories about restoring and reusing coal mines show a promising new direction, where we can turn places that seem to have lost their value into environmental protection and sustainable development projects. They watched this far, Don. Thank you for watching the entire video, and see you next time.